William, first, I have to say thank you so much for making time to speak with me. But
Good.
more importantly, thank you so much for everything that you and the Commodores have done over the decades for music. Now, here's the thing. I want to make sure that how much you know that, of course, myself and my family members are big fans of the Commodores over the years, because when it comes to record collections, from my dad to my brother to myself, so we're gonna do this, okay?
Uh-oh.
All
Uh-oh.
right,
Look at the afros.
there we go. Okay, now I'm not done yet. Okay, not done yet. Here we
Oh,
go.
yeah.
All right.
Yeah. I remember that.
Okay,
Of course. Yeah.
not done yet.
Okay.
Not done yet.
My goodness. We
Okay,
call that the Blue Album.
the Blue Album. Okay,
Yeah.
we're not done yet. We're not done yet.
Oh my Lord. Yes.
Okay,
Mm.
not done yet. You notice this is all vinyl too.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay,
Well, at least we cut the afros down a little bit, right?
a little bit. We're not done yet.
Oh Lord, have mercy.
There we
Man,
go.
I remember that album. I really remember that album.
We're not done yet.
Okay.
One
You
of
know
my
that's
favorite
me.
covers.
You know that's me, right?
Yeah, absolutely. But we're not done yet, because we have to get to the holy grail of
Okay.
Commodore albums,
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, the live album.
the
Actually, you
live
know what?
album,
That's
which of
that.
course,
Yeah. Oh yeah. That is actually my favorite album of them all. It really is.
same
Uh,
here.
yeah. Um, that was a lot of time and effort put into that album through the years, because we had been playing those songs, for years before that album was cut, right? For a couple
Mhm.
of years. So it wasn't a matter of really trying to put anything together for that. It was just a matter of playing, right? Just getting on stage and performing and just having a great time. And that's what we did. We had a great time cutting that album.
And
I
and
think,
for
go ahead.
and sir, go ahead. Go ahead. No, you go
No,
ahead, please.
I think we shot some of that was shot in New York, and some of that was shot in Atlanta, Georgia, I believe.
For us, that was a party album. You
Yes.
know, I mean, for us, you could not play Just to Be Close to You and Easy, the original, 3.5 minute version. You had to play the live version.
Oh
When
yeah.
you played Brick House, you had to, with the bongos and the drums in the
Yeah.
beginning, to lead
Yeah.
into. You could not play the studio version. You had to play the live version. When you danced to Zoom,
Yes.
Slow Jam, you had to play the live version. I
I
mean,
love
it
it.
it honestly is one of the greatest live albums ever made.
Yeah.
Congratulations on that.
Yeah. I'm surprised that that album did not get more awards than it got. Um, that was a downer for us, I think. But you know what? It was still so much fun to cut. And even to this day, as a matter of fact, about a month ago, um, we were getting ready to do something for the stage show. And we said, you know what? Let's listen to the live album, because we changed the show up, right? And so we have a lot of introductions to songs that don't sound the same anymore.
Mhm.
And so we went back to listen to what we did in the beginning of Zoom, right? And we're still debating whether to take some of that out and put it into the show today, because we just think it was so good back then. It was just so good.
It was amazing. I've always said my three favorite live albums: The Jacksons
Yeah,
live, Earth, Wind, and Fire live,
yeah.
and this album live. Those are my all-time three favorite live
I
albums.
hear you. I hear you. And all three of those are really good, man. And we all came up together. As a matter of fact, um, the Jackson Five, we opened up for them for about 2.5 years.
Wow.
We were their front act. Yeah. And the first time we went out with them was like 1971 or 1970. And we did 64 or 5 dates something like 60 days. We only had like 3 or 4 days off the entire time. And it was in a different city every night. And we were in our little van, right? We had a van with a trailer behind it, and they were flying everywhere.
But wait a
So
minute.
we had to leave. We had to leave every night right after the show to get to the next city.
But did you, okay, you talk about this little van. Did you have at that time those funky outfits that we knew from back then, where everybody was coordinated with the bands and the shoulder pads?
That's right. But the idea was to have the same type of design, but have it individual.
Right.
So so if you can remember, some of them, they were different colors. Some of them had tassels down the arms. Some of them had tassels down the back. You know what I mean? It was the same design idea, but the design for each individual as himself.
Amazing. You know, I feel like I'm all over the place, but I needed to start off with these albums because I wanted you to know that not just my family, my neighborhood, my friends, that era, it was an amazing time. And, you know, I could not have learned and done the things that I've done over the years if it wasn't for the music of the Commodores. I mean, you guys taught me how to talk to women. You taught me how, you know, to experience life, but you also taught me how to enjoy life. Yes. And it was through the music of the Commodores, and everybody in my neighborhood felt that way.
Thank you. I got to tell you, it's been an unbelievable career, right? I mean, look, everybody dreams about making it, right? And our dream came true. And I tell you something, you know, the number of bands that started out with us, you know, that, you know, didn't quite make it to where we were, you know, we could have, sometimes I think we could have been one of those, right? I mean, I could have been working in, I don't know, digital computers or somewhere, right? But things worked out, right? And so, you know, I don't take it for granted. I don't think any of the guys take it for granted. I think we all enjoyed every day we woke up, right? Going to, with some idea, some musical idea in our heads. Now, 99% of them weren't good. But we took that little 1% from each one of the guys and we threw it in that pot, man. And we were amazed at what came out of it. So it has been really good.
Now, you would not remember this, but this is actually going to be our third interview being done. We did an interview many years ago. The last one was actually at Blue Mountain Resort. You guys were performing there, and you and I did a sit-down one-on-one conversation. I have the picture and everything, and hopefully I'm going to be able to post this in this interview because I have it on my phone. But I always have so much fun in talking with the band, and I want to go over a couple of things really quickly and not draw this out, but you know, the truth of how the band got together and being part of Motown in its funky days.
Yeah, well, you know, actually, we came. Well, I guess I'll start back with the first of your question, how the band came about. The band came about. We were all freshmen in Tuskegee Institute. It's now Tuskegee University, right? But we were not. But we were in a little band. We called ourselves the Mystics.
Right.
Okay. And so we really weren't that good, but it didn't matter. We were having so much fun. You know, we were chasing the girls and playing music, right? And which is not the idea behind going to college, but it was our idea anyway. So anyway, so then one day we got an invitation from a group called the Jays that was like the #1 band in that area, and everybody looked up to, all the bands looked up to them, and then they broke up and they came to us and asked us to join them so they could, you know, have a full band again. And we thought, yeah, you know. And so we merged the two bands together. But we didn't want to use the same name. We didn't want to use the Mystics nor the Jays. So we took a dictionary and just turned the pages and put our finger on a word. And that word was Commodore. And at the time we said, nah, we don't like that name. But we said, you know what, we got to take it. Because we said whatever word, right? And we have to be true to our word. And we have to always be truthful with ourselves, our music, and we have to be truthful now at the very beginning. And so we said, all right. So because back then, you know, you had all these, you know, Deep Purple, and all these crazy name bands,
Yeah.
right? Earth, Wind, Fire,
Parliament
Blood, Sweat,
Funkadelic.
yeah, Funkadelics, for God's sake, right? And Blood, Sweat, and Tears, and So here we were with the Commodores, right? So we just put an S on it, pluralized it, and kept it, because we said we had to be truthful with ourselves. So that's how we got the name Commodores. And from there, we just started playing all over, everywhere, all over the country, trying to get back to school, to take tests and all, And finally, one day in New York City, a young lady by the name of Suzanne DePass, which is, became president of Motown's motion picture production. She was like, I don't know, 18, 19 years old, maybe.
Wow, that's young.
She had just started working with Motown in the R&B department, the A&R department, rather. And so when she saw us playing in New York City at a place called, oh God, what was the name of that club? Oh man, hopefully I'll think of it later. Anyway, it was the place to be, right? We played there in New York, and she went back and told Barry that she saw this band, and she thought he should sign them and sign us. And so he said, well, you need to go back and see them again, because maybe not, right? Anyway, so she asked us to go back to LA so Barry could see us. And so Barry Gordy saw us, he liked us. And so then they put us on the tour with the Jackson 5.
Wow.
And this was the very first tour that they had ever done. So it was a lot of stuff that had to be put together, right? But one thing they told us, you got to be on stage. You must be on stage every night, 8 p.m. Okay, that's not 8:01, 8:02. So we actually learned. I watched and to see how they did business, right? Yeah. What was going on backstage. It wasn't so much on stage, because we had the big hit. We thought we knew what was going on stage, because we were doing it, right? And but we learned that too. And so we ended up spending 2.5 years with them. And it was incredible for us musically, the learning of how to do stage work, how to put a show together, and the business end of it. It was great. It educated us in all the ways that was needed. So that was our beginning, and I give them full credit for that. And they were incredible. It's the best band, I guess I could call them a band, a group I've ever seen on stage with the Jackson 5, period. That I ever seen on stage.
Now, I'm curious, though, was Machine Gun the first hit? And if so, that's interesting, because if it was, that was an instrumental.
That's right.
And you guys can sing. So
that's right.
It's interesting how here you are, great vocalists. And what I can remember is the first one was Machine Gun, where everybody was doing lockers. It was the funk song to dance to.
Let me tell you, that song was an accident, like most careers get started. You know what I mean? It's that old saying, when the door opens up, you got to be able to go through it, right? Well, what happened was Marlon Williams wrote that song. Marlon was the keyboard player. He wore the big glasses all the time on stage.
Yes.
Right? And so originally that song was his birth sign. Was the name of that song. And so it accidentally got played for somebody at Motown, and they liked it. I think it was Suzanne. And so she took it to Barry Gordy, and Barry Gordy said, yeah, I like this song. Who made this song? Right? They said the Commodores. He said, well, what's the name of it? And they told him the name. He said, no, that's not a good name for it. Because it has all this pew, 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 synthesized work on it, right? And he said, it sounds like machine guns firing to me. So that song gonna be called Machine Gun. So they came back and said, look, Barry Gordy likes the song and he'll put it out, but he wants the name changed. We didn't even ask him what he wanted the name to be. We said, yeah, let him change it. If that's the only way we can get a record out, so we had cut other songs, right? Vocal songs with vocals on, rather, but not that was the first one that went out the door, and they first tested it in Europe, and so it was #1 in Europe. It shot back over the United States inside of 2 or 3 weeks, and every disc jockey, every DJ, every club was playing. And it was our very first hit, and we still play it today on stage.
Got to.
Yeah,
Do people break out? Do the old guys like me? Do we break out doing lockers when we hear that song? Because
no,
that was
not anymore. Not anymore. But I'm always amazed at the people, what people tell us about that song. How it was the first song they danced to in high school. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And you always think a slow song would be that, like 3 times a steal, something like that. But people say, "No, man, this song right here, man, I went and grabbed my and I married that woman too. I married her. You still married her? No, we long time ago. But so, but yeah, I'm amazed at the number of people who tell me that they met their girlfriend, their wife, somebody by dancing with that song.
What was it like competing on the charts? And I can say friendly competition, whatever, when you have, like yourself, and I've mentioned the names already: Earth, Wind, and Fire, Parliament Funkadelic, Ohio players,
yeah.
Brass Construction,
Yeah.
Confunction, Cool in the Gang.
Yeah.
I can keep going. Gladys Knight and Pips. I can keep going and going and going. And at that time, what people, the younger folks don't realize is you guys were literally releasing album after album. It could be, you could have an album this month and then you have another album that month because so-and-so's got this great album that just came out. And then so-and-so is going to have this album out. What was it like to compete on the charts knowing that you had so much talent out there releasing iconic albums?
You know what? It was a driving force. You know what I mean? It was like McEnroe and Borg, if you know anything about tennis, right? It was like one football team versus another football team. They both battling to be. They both have been champions for a while, right? But now they're battling each other, and one wins, one loses. But they try to get one up on each other, right? And that's the way it was. Although I have to admit, I think we got along very well with all the other groups. I will say that. And I always, now that I look back on it, I think I always wanted somebody to have a big hit because that was another driving force for us, right? I mean, and that was a lot of competition, as you have said. One of the things that I remember one time was that Ohio players had this song called about fire. It was called Fire, right? Fire, dum 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 dum. They were incredible in the studio, I think. But anyway, man, we heard that song. We said, "Oh shoot, man, we got to do something here." And right out of the box, after that was Brick House.
Iconic.
Iconic.
How did you guys come up with Brick House? I mean, easy enough when you understand 36, 24, 36.
Yeah.
How did you come up with that?
Well, actually, our drummer at the time, Walter Orange, we called him Clyde, right? Clyde had this song in mind, but it was Brick S House. Okay, you can fill in the letters, right? And we said, "No, Clyde, we can't say that on the record." Now, at the time, the record sounded nothing like it sounds now, right? It was just an idea, right? It was, and so, but he was so determined, that was going to be the name of the album. So, and that was the last song that was going on the album. Because see, we like a lot of artists, they would cut 20 songs, 15 songs, and then they would choose 10 songs, or however many was going out of that. We never did that. We would decide how many songs was going on the album, and we would write that exact amount of songs, right? And then put that together, and that's all was going to go on that album. Because we didn't want to have the expense, because every time you cut a song, those are dollars on the book, right? That it's got to be paid back, and the record company is going to get it out of you one way or the other, right? So we didn't want to build up a huge bill. So we only cut the songs that we put on the album, which then those songs could put money back in for themselves. But that song once we got it going, we only had 2 days before we were going to take a break and then go to LA to cut the album. And nobody wanted to use those 2 days working on that song, right? So they told me to go home and write the lyrics, and told Clyde to go home and write the lyrics. So we both went home and brought lyrics back in, and we just went straight out to LA. You know, didn't put because we cut demos in Tuskegee before we go, so we'd have something to follow, right? But we didn't with that song. So when we got out there, we cut the track, The Brick House, and then James Carmichael, who was the co-producer on the album with us, he came in one day after the track was cut and said, "You know what? I don't think I like this song anymore."
What?
Yeah. He said, "I don't think I like this song anymore." So we're just gonna put 9 songs on this album. You know, that's all. We're just gonna do 9 or whatever the number was. And so Clyde got upset, and he went and got the assistant engineer, Jane Clark, and they went in. He said, "Look, Jane, I want you to record my vocal on this." So they went in the studio and cut him, him singing the song.
Wow.
And I think we were in the other studio. I think the song was Easy, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
Don't hold me to that. I think it was Easy.
No, you are right. You are right.
All the rest of us was in there cutting that, working on that song. And so we came out during a break, and Clyde was standing out there waiting on us. And he said, "Look, I want you to hear this. I want you to hear this." So we all went inside. He dragged Carmichael in, and Carmichael heard that vocal on it, and we all heard that vocal on it, because I love the song anyway. And look, I was working on the lyrics, so I was gonna like it. And he heard Clyde sing that song. He said, "Oh man, that's a hit." But it took his vocal on it, because he is so emphatic in that vocal. He did such a great job, and all you had to do is listen to the song to know what he did, right? So when he says it's a brick house, you know he means it.
I'm curious about something that I always thought was incredible. And I don't think people realize this. Back then, there was at least 9 guys on stage. I mean, Parliament Funkadelic had like 30 people. I mean, Cameo, if I remember, had like 12 people on stage. Earth, Wind, and Fire was the same thing, like 10. You guys had a lot of people on stage. Heck, Casey and the Sunshine Band had at least like 10 or 12 people. What was this about, having so many artists? And of course, you had to have, of course, what James Brown would call the horny horns. Why was there so many players on stage? You don't see that much anymore.
No. Well, you don't see bands anymore, right?
Yes.
When was the last band that you saw had a hit record, right? I mean, it's just, it's a solo artist with his band behind him, or 2 or 3 guys, playing guitar or something, but the reason we had it was because, first of all, there were 6 of us. There were 6 Commodores, right? And so, but the music we were putting out demanded more instrumentation, right? Because, I mean, just think of one, like Brick House, for instance. We had all the horns in there, 3 times a lady, all the violins were in there, percussions and stuff. So Lady You Bring Me Up had all those horns, so Richie and I played horns, but we only had 2 horns, just me and Richie, right? So it was hard to sound like, although I think we sounded like a whole horn section myself, but still, the rest of the guys thought we needed some help, right? So that's why we had the other guys. We needed someone to play the violin parts. We needed keyboards, of course. We had bass, drums, and all that. But we needed extra horns. So that's what it was all about. Was about making the show sound exactly like the record.
And you did. And you did do that. You did do that. You did do that.
One of our things was, we wanted people we wanted to sound on stage like as if we were in the car with those people and listening to it through the speakers of the car, right? Because that's what people come for. They want to hear what they hear on that radio. And that's what we were trying to give them. So that's why so many bands had so many people on the stage.
There was a point where it was like, and correct me if I'm wrong, to me, when you guys first started out, you were a hardcore funk band. Then it went more into an R&B. Then, of course, we got the slow ballads, the ones that we will always remember. Can you talk about am I right about this transition in that? Because of course, a lot of people remember, I mean, you could not have a red light party. And for the youngins who don't know what that is changing the light bulb into the red light bulb. You had the little light that had all the different colors on it that would spin around. You put that in the corner, and that was your red light party. And you could not have a red light party where the slow music came on without having a Commodore song. Plus, let's face it, Just to Be Close to You was the song that you got together with. Easy, to me, was the breakup song. Like you had them both back to back. Am I right about the transition from the hardcore funk to R&B to...
Yes, you are. Absolutely. Look, we started out as a top 40 band, right? Mm-hmm. Just playing whatever, because we didn't have any music of our own. But the thing was, we sat down one day and said, okay, we have been out here on this road traveling now. We need to take this seriously, right? Either we're going to do this or do something else, right? And so we thought, okay, what type of music are we going to play? Because, they always typecast you, right? I mean, for instance, they'd always say, oh, who do you sound like? Like Temptations, Four Tops, who do you sound like? And we said, we sound like ourselves. They said, what is that? So one day we said, okay, well, what music is it? What genre of music that is that everybody likes? Okay, no matter whether they're Portuguese, whether they're African, whether they're whatever. What music do they like? And we came up with ballads. Everybody likes a ballad, right? If it's pretty and they can sing along, they enjoy it, they like singing it, it's a ballad. Everybody didn't like the up-tempo fast song, I mean, depending on the age group, right? But everybody loves a ballad. So we set out to write ballads. And we said, whoever writes the best ballads, and that's who we're going with. And just so happened, Richie was writing the best ballads.
Slow just songs, so you know, just so you know.
There you go.
I'm wearing Richie.
There you go. So, so he became, and he wasn't singing all the songs at that time.
He was playing saxophone.
He was playing saxophone, and Clyde was doing most of the singing.
That's right.
Okay. So, but Richie did sing some, and so but once he had started having those hits, man, then all of a sudden he became the guy up front, the lead guy, right? And Clyde was behind the drums because he was a drummer, and he loved his drums. He was a jazz drummer, right? Mm-hmm. As a matter of fact, we had to take some drums away from him because we said, dude, all we need is the 2 and the 4. We don't need all those rudiments going on like that. And take 2 or 3 of those cymbals while you're taking that stuff. So, but we did that consciously, right? I mean, we honestly made that. And so after a while, we said, well, wait a minute, whoa, we need some up-tempo music here, because the ballads and the slow song, whatever you want to call them, are starting to take over here. And if you know anything about doing a show on stage, you need to go up and down. I mean, like when we design our show, we think of it like a roller coaster, right? You come out way up here, right, and but then you got to take them down a little bit, because you want to let them breathe and then be ready to appreciate something else. But if you keep them up here, all the time, you just wear them out. So we like our shows to go up and down, up and down, up and down, right? And so, that's when we did, songs like Lady, You Bring Me Up, and stuff. So we try to keep that going. But to this day, the ballads just take over. They really do.
It made a lot of babies. They made a lot of babies. We have about 6 minutes left.
Okay.
So question is, how has the band become what it is today, as we've lost members over the years? How do you describe the band today?
I describe the band today as being focused and musically more talented than ever. Loving what they do. and looking for the future, looking toward the future. You know, within the last 2 to 3 years, we have brought our children into the group.
Wow.
We call them Commodores G2, which is Generation 2, right? And they are really doing a great job, really doing a great job, right? And so, you know, it makes me feel really good to see them play and sing the way that they are. You know, I think all the time, you know, Marlon, we were talking about Machine Gun. Marlon was the first, had the first hit. And Marlon would be so happy right now to see this, right? He passed away some years back. It was truly sad. And, you know, we used to be in the band sometime driving, and this was back when we were, you know, back in 69, 70. And we'd say, I wonder who's gonna be the first one of us to pass away. You know, we sit and say, is this gonna be you? No, I'm gonna say, I ain't going nowhere, it's you. No, it's gonna be you. And don't get fat, because I'm not carrying that casket. It's gonna be too heavy. So, you know, and here we are so many years later, you know, when it's actually happening, you know, sad. But I still remember those great times. And for the Commodores, it's just going to go on because our children are going to take it on and on. And I am so happy about that. You know, I feel really good. And I hope you get a chance to see the show, because they are so much a part of the show now. Right?
Sorry, let me jump right in there, because we only
Sure.
have about 4 more minutes. What's the Fallsview Casino show going to be like?
Well, it's going to be like all the music that you've heard through the years, and that you've found your girlfriend, your wife, that your children were conceived by. It's going to be a lot of singing, a lot of dancing.
All of this.
Oh yeah, from the beginning all the way, right? It's going to be where people are going to be just jumping around in their seats, out of their seats, singing all those songs, and we're going to bring back all of those memories, right? I mean, think about it, all those wonderful memories from all of those songs. 3 Times a Lady, Still Easy, Close to You, Sweet Love, Night Shift, Lady You Bring Me Up, you know, Brick House, for God's sake, you know, Zoom. I mean, the list just goes on and on and on. And we have so much fun on that stage, singing and playing those songs. Now, you know, I look forward every night to going up on that stage. Every night I look forward to it. And so, and I want the people in that audience to leave there not only going back in time, but can see the future at the same time with our music, because it is going to be a great time.
Sir William, I have to say, thank you so much, not just for this interview. Thank you for these amazing memories that I have in my hand. My dad, my brother, who aren't here now, but they are part of the legacy that I grew up on with this music. So for them, from my family, from the family I grew up with in the neighborhood, and from myself, we all say thank you for what the Commodores did for us.
We appreciate it. And you know what? If I could, I'd do it all over again.
Oh, I would be right there. Thank you, sir.
All right. Thank you.